Hi there, my name is Kelly. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about 9 refreshing fragrances to wear when it's super duper hot outside and you just need something sprayed on you that's going to feel really cooling. It's not going to be too cloying. It's not going to be like choking anyone out. If this is your first time watching my videos, hello, welcome. Just to apologize for this difference in layout today. I feel like it's probably a little bit janky. I tried to film this video on my phone and I just ran out of storage and it's being kind of crazy. So I just figured I would do it on my laptop instead. So it just might look a little bit different and there's a like weird lighting situation, but we're just gonna go with it. So anyways, starting over with our very first fragrance, starting with a not ever talked about fragrance called Jil Sander Pop Sun Coral. I found out about this fragrance from another reviewer on YouTube last summer. I can't remember her name or her channel. I just know that she's from Canada and she focuses primarily on cheapies and sometimes like some more vintagey kind of fragrances. So she recommended this fragrance because she said it sounded similar, or she said it smelled similar to Lush's Big, which is like a volumizing shampoo. I think they still make it. Back in 2014, I used it religiously. I used it primarily for the scent, not so much for the volumizing aspects. I absolutely fell in love with the scent. And she said that this smells just like it. So, of course, I immediately purchased it. And she was not wrong. It's not an exact dupe, but it does have a very similar scent. It's got this sort of salty, kind of freesia floral vibe going on that I really love. Let me see, because I already sprayed this. Yeah. Yeah, it smells very salty. Like it has this kind of like beachy, salty, floral air thing going on that I really like. This is something that I actually have considered decluttering a couple of times simply because I don't find myself like finding very many instances where I would wear this. I think this would be a great thing to look into purchasing if maybe perhaps you're a waitress or a server that works like on a deck, like on a beach, somewhere where like you need to smell fresh, but you kind of want to blend in with the environment. It's a great fragrance to wear to the beach, maybe a great fragrance to wear doing errands. It's a very, very casual scent, very floral, very salty. Yeah, this is my least favorite from the 9 that I'm going to be sharing with you today, but it is very refreshing. It does have a very cooling element to it, and that's why I included it in this list. Okay, next up we have one of my all-time favorite fragrances, which is Dias and Jerga Jasmine Yucatan. Now, this is going to be a very different style fragrance from the Jil Sander fragrance that I just shared with you. This is going to be something that you're probably more likely to want to wear when you're getting a little bit more dressed up. Perhaps you want to feel just really like girly and flirty and playful. It's a beautiful jasmine fragrance that also kind of has this like animalic jungle smell to it. It's got like a jungle note in it, which I don't know what that means, but it does have this sort of like viney, palmy kind of aspect to it. There's also a note of copal in here that is very copal. It's very much copal. I've seen other fragrances say that there's a copal note in their fragrance where it doesn't really smell like copal. But this literally smells like you're walking down a pathway from your resort in Tulum down to the beach. You're smelling like the scent of flowers along the pathway. You're getting this kind of like jungle vibe, and you're smelling copal. It's like drifting through the resort. Yeah, just it's very, very photorealistic to what it would smell like to be vacationing in the Yucatan Peninsula in the jungle, right, alongside the beach. It's beautiful. I've worn this to Mexico. I guess I've only been to Mexico once since I've had this fragrance, but I wore it like the entire trip. I've worn it to a couple of weddings. It's really pretty. It's really unique. It can be somewhat of a polarizing fragrance. I know that some people don't really love the jasmine in here. They think that it's sugary and a little synthetic. I personally don't get this from this jasmine. I'm very picky about my jasmine. And I just think this is really pretty. The kind of delicate dance between the jasmine and the copal is really pretty. It's really unique. It's not something I've smelled in any other fragrance. Like I don't know of any other fragrances that smell like this, you know, which I love that. I love finding a fragrance that it stands by itself. It's very unique. So yeah, this is like one of my absolute favorite fragrances. Definitely if you're going to Mexico on a vacation and you need something to like wear out to dinner, be a little dressed up without being too fancy, this is literally your perfect fragrance. Also, every time I wear this, whatever men are around me are just like, oh my God, you smell amazing. So men love this, I think, because it has this kind of like sweet floral, but somewhat smoky element to it. Yeah, it's just a total hit. So that is Diaz and Durga Jasmine Yucatan. Okay, next up we have one that I do not actually physically have in my person because I blew through the sample really quickly. It is Ellis Brooklyn's Sunfruit. Those of you guys that have been following me for a bit, you've heard me talk about my obsession with Lilu back in 2003, 2004. It was a very small, very inexpensive fragrance created by I don't know who the perfumer was, but it was for Pacific Sunwear. So you could just buy it at Pacific Sunwear. And I wore that for 2 summers in a row. It was a very, really pretty, creamy floral fig fragrance, which I love that scent profile of like floral fig. And I've got another one right after this one that's very similar that I'm going to share with you. But Sunfruit, for a while, like I was trying to find Lilu, I couldn't find it anywhere. I was trying to find a dupe for it, couldn't find it anywhere. And then I tried Sunfruit, and it's the closest thing to a dupe for Lilu that I've personally been able to find. Sunfruit is gorgeous. It's a very creamy fig. There's some florals in there. I feel like there's gardenia. I'll put the notes up here for you guys. It's just a really pretty summer fragrance. It's playful. It's young enough that like a teenager could wear it, but also like if you're in your 50s, 60s, you could also wear it. It's really versatile, meaning like you could wear it going out doing errands, going to the grocery store. You could also wear it out on a date. It's a beautiful fragrance. My only issue with Sunfruit is the longevity, which I struggle with that with most Ellis Brooklyn fragrances. But what I do is just overspray, spray my hair, spray my clothes, and I can get about 4 to 5 hours. So I definitely recommend checking out Sunfruit. If you like those kind of creamy floral fragrances, I think you'll really appreciate this one. Again, that's Ellis Brooklyn's Sunfruit. In a similar vein, we have one that I just discovered. It's called 10 a.m. Flirt, and it's by Kieran NYC. This is a clean fragrance that I've recently, like last week, just tried out for the first time, although I had it in my possession for like 9 months. I just hadn't sprayed it yet. This is a gorgeous gardenia fig fragrance, but it's different from Sunfruit because it starts off very grassy and green. It's very similar to Neon Graffiti in the opening by Jasmine Sarai, if you're familiar with that fragrance. It's so pretty. It's very, very green and grassy and fresh up top, and then it dries down to this beautiful creamy fig gardenia fragrance. You're getting a little bit more of the figs, the leaves and stem of the gardenia and the fig more so than the like milkiness of it that you can get with both of those notes. In the top, in the bottom, it does kind of get into this sort of creamy aspect. This is so pretty. Definitely wear this on skin because it's me smelling it on the paper. I'm like, oh yeah, it definitely smells a lot better on skin. It definitely opens up a lot better. But what this reminds me of is summer morning times in New England, in like someone's backyard garden. I grew up in New England. I grew up in Massachusetts. My mom was a huge gardener. She had all these beautiful gardens. Every house we lived in, she would like instantly create this magical garden in the backyard. And yeah, this just smells like going outside in the morning, maybe with a cup of coffee, just like sitting, being with the garden, smelling all the smells of New England in the summertime. It's so pretty. Definitely recommend getting your nose on this. I've not heard anyone talk about this house at all. I was really surprised because I haven't heard anyone talk about this. I was really surprised at how high quality this is, how beautifully it's blended. And also, I don't think they're very expensive at all. I feel like they're, don't quote me, but maybe like around the $100 mark for a bottle. Yeah, this is really pretty. I am going to get a full bottle of this ASAP. But yeah, along the same lines as Sunfruit. So these could be kind of like cousins, definitely not dupes of each other, but very similar. They share some similar notes. The dry downs are similar, but they also have their own personalities as well. So again, that is 10 a.m. Flirt by Kieran NYC. Okay, next up we have one that's totally different. This is Gentle Fluidity Silver by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. And this is not for me, to be honest. This is not something that I gravitate towards. However, I really appreciate the artistry with this and the mastery that this perfume is. It says that it's unisex, but to me, this comes off as a very fresh, ice cold, masculine fragrance. You've got just hard hitting juniper that almost gives it this kind of piney quality. But there's also like a little bit of softness coming in with maybe some blonde woods of some sort. There's a little bit of a smoky element, sort of a little bit of an ambery element coming in, but it's very cold. Like to me, this is just the smell of ice. It smells like a gin and tonic. It smells like snow. It smells really, really cold. It's really, really fresh. I keep looking over here because I forget that I'm filming on my laptop. I'm so sorry. Try to look in the camera. Yeah. So when I first sprayed this, I was like, oh, wow. Like I really appreciate the mastery of this fragrance. However, this is so not for me. And then I heard someone say, I can't remember who it was, but someone said this fragrance really opens up when you put it on, get it on skin, and then go outside into like triple digits. And you guys, I'm telling you, they were not lying. It morphs into this beautiful, yeah, I don't know, just all the base notes kind of like take on a life of their own, and it moves it away from this like icy coldness into this more like well-rounded fragrance. Yeah, really, really, really pretty. Again, not like my soulmate fragrance, but definitely one that if it's triple digits, you're gonna get a cooling aspect from it. It's gonna feel refreshing if you spray this on, and you're gonna smell amazing too. So again, that's Gentle Fluidity Silver by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Okay, next up on the list, we've got Jo Malone's Wood Sage and Sea Salt. I have a small bottle of the original Jo Malone. I can't find it. I don't know where it is, but I did pull out my Dossier version, which is called Woody Sage, which I actually prefer this one over the original simply for longevity. They're very, very, very similar. I would say like 98% dupe. Like Dossier killed it with this. Yeah, this is a beautiful, salty sage, grapefruit, ambrette. It smells like beautiful, warm ocean air with like a little bit of muskiness. Like it's a very comforting, very environmental kind of smell, but without being too marine or too aquatic. I personally don't love marine aquatic scents. This just nailed it. I think it's the ambrette and the grapefruit really balances out the sage and the saltiness. This is gorgeous and it's so refreshing. It feels so good for some reason when it's like super hot and you're super sticky. This feels so good to spray on it. It feels refreshing. It almost feels like you're quenching some sort of thirst. I like to spray this on right before the gym. I like to spray it on right after the gym. I like to spray it on if I've like been out for a walk and it's really hot and come back and just spray this. It's instantly cooling and refreshing. It's soothing. It's a very soothing scent. I think it's the sage in there. Yeah, if you aren't into dupes, then get the Jo Malone version. If you like dupes, I highly recommend the Dossier version. This is a really fantastic dupe of this fragrance. I'm pretty sure that once I finish this bottle, I will get another one. It's absolutely beautiful. This is also going to be a great fragrance to wear if you're going to any sort of like beach vacation, any sort of oceanside, yeah, just anything where you're by the ocean. This is going to be the fragrance that you'll definitely want to bring on that vacation. Okay, next up, we have one that I recently got my nose on, and I have to say, I absolutely love it. I'm in love with all three of the Delinas. The Delina Exclusive, I would not say I'm actually in love with, but I do like it. The Delina Original is definitely my absolute favorite out of the three, but this definitely comes in second. This is Delina La Rosée, and it's just like Delina, kind of minus that like crunchy kind of tart rhubarb thing. This is like an aquatic, almost transparent version of Delina, if that makes sense. It's really, really pretty. It is like a muted, watery version of Delina, which doesn't sound great when I say it like that, but It's a more aquatic version. It's a very subtle, softened version of it. Um, this is something you could wear day to day. Like I struggle wearing the original Delina, like out, for example, doing errands or, yeah, just anywhere where I'm not like dressed up and to the nines and fancy because Delina is such a domineering fragrance. This is very mellow. It's really pretty. It's aquatic. It's got, again, very similar DNA. But yeah, definitely, and maybe a tad bit sweeter as well. I'm going to put the notes. I haven't actually looked at the notes yet for this. I'm going to put them up here, whatever, and show you guys. But yeah, this is really, really pretty. It also, I feel like there's also potentially another floral in here besides the rose. I'm not sure if there's peony in here. Yeah, I think I am getting the peony as well, but I feel like there's another floral. I feel like there might be some like jasmine in here or some tuberose or something else. It feels like there's another floral added into the mix with this. Again, this mystery will be solved once you see the notes. But yeah, this is really pretty. And this is going to be more of like a more dressed up fragrance than the other ones that I've shared. It's going to be a little bit more sexy, more flirty, a little bit more like, hi, here I am, less of like a casual kind of, yeah, like playful fragrance. It's really pretty. Definitely give this a shot, especially if you love the other Delinas. Okay, next up on the list is one that I feel you might be surprised to hear on this list because when you think of this fragrance, like you don't necessarily just think that this is refreshing right off the bat, right? But hear me out. So this is Her by Zadig and Voltaire. I actually have the Zara dupe, which I just noticed just now that my letters are coming off. It's called Fields of Nightfall. I've had this for maybe like 2 weeks, and I feel like there should be a bigger dent in here because I literally cannot stop spraying it on myself. But I've never done a side-by-side comparison of these. I actually wanted to do a side-by-side comparison just real quick because to me, they're spot on dupes. But the original, the longevity is okay, but it's not like amazing. I maybe get like, I don't know, 4 to 5 hours out of the original. But with this Zara dupe, literally like 12 hours with this, like just pumping. It's crazy. And I've heard some people say that the opposite, that they get great longevity out of the original and not great longevity out of this. So I think, perfume is so subjective and it really is dependent on like your pH and your chemistry and all of that. So yeah, okay. Now that I don't think they're actually as dupes as I thought they were. They're so close. They literally so close. This one's a little bit more sour, actually, the dupe. The original is a little bit more sweeter. The original is a little bit more hard hitting up top. But if you've never explored this fragrance, let's just go into the basics, right? So basically not side by side, they literally smell exactly the same. It's literally just a longevity thing. And This Is Her is not going to break the bank. It's not that expensive. And, this was like maybe $35. So it's not like you're definitely saving money, but it's not like this is like a $400 perfume and this is like $30. There's not like this huge difference. But let me explain to you what this smells like. This is a very polarizing fragrance. Some people think that it smells like baby puke because there's a little bit of this like sour lactonicness, sort of. For me personally, that doesn't show up on my skin. I really think it's a pH thing because I know some people like really get that off their skin and they have to scrub it off immediately. So definitely sample this before you buy anything. However, just know that if you do buy a full bottle and you don't end up liking it, someone on Mercari is going to snatch it up because it's a very popular fragrance. But this, to me, mostly what I'm getting is a very creamy, lactonic, sandalwood, almost like sweet, almost like pipe smoke sweet. So that's what I get. Like no one has mentioned this, and it's something that I get all the time from this fragrance. It's almost this, it kind of smells like a grandfather like who has a freshly shaven face, and you can kind of smell that like Barbasol smell from his face, and then kind of like this pipe smoky got this very sweet kind of incensey, smoky thing going on that no one talks about. Everyone's always talking about the sandalwood and the creaminess. And for me, I get this very barbershoppy, classic, like traditional kind of old man smell, which I know doesn't sound appealing, but for me, it's so soothing and so comforting. And it's also really refreshing. So I like to wear this at night in the summertime when the sun has gone down, the temperature has cooled off a bit, and I'm really looking for this like soothing kind of creamy black tonic quality. This is what I go to. This is what I gravitate towards. So definitely not something you would think of as like a refreshing summer fragrance, but definitely something that I personally find very refreshing at night in the summer, especially like before bed. If you're just like Netflix and chilling by yourself or with your partner, this works really well for that as well. So definitely check this out. Again, this is Her by Zadig and Voltaire. Fields of Nightfall is my preferred dupe for this by Zara. Last but not least, we have the fragrance that I probably reach for the most when the temperatures are really, really hot. This is Moschino's I Love Love. This is a dupe for Dolce & Gabbana's Light Sun, which I do have a bottle of, but it's a vintage bottle that has gone off, so I can't do a side-by-side comparison. However, it's very, 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 very similar. I would say maybe the main difference is that the grapefruit note is a little bit more dominant with this one. But you can see like I've made a huge dent in this. Yeah, this is my favorite fragrance to wear when I know I'm going to be like running around outside in the summer doing errands. Like last summer, I wore this a ton when I was working Instacart. So I was doing Instacart. And if you have worked any gig apps in the summertime, like you get sweaty. You're like lugging groceries up and down apartment building stairs, and you're like just kind of hustling. This was the ultimate fragrance for me when I was outside working, sweating. This is like to me, it reminds me of the feeling that you get when you like are super, super hot and you like jump in a pool and maybe like chug some fruit punch. It's thirst quenching. Like it has kind of a punchy smell. It's very citrusy. It's very like grapefruit, maybe some lime and orange, lime zest, orange up top. It dries down into like a kind of musky, ambery thing. It's really, really, really pretty. It smells just like Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, if you've smelled that. But it's more thirst quenching. So Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue felt more like sexy and kind of flirtatious to me. This literally just smells thirst quenching. Like I don't know how else to describe it. It's the smell of your thirst being quenched. So I absolutely love this fragrance. I highly recommend it. You can get it for pretty cheap on FragranceNet. I can't remember how much I got this for, but it was not expensive. Yeah, this is just such an incredible summer fragrance, and it will work for any occasion. You could wear this during the day. You could wear this out at night. It's just so good, you guys. I love it. I love it so much. And I know it has a huge fan base as well. I know a lot of people really love this fragrance. So that is all the fragrances that I have for you today. I would love to know in the comments, what is your absolute favorite fragrance to wear when it's super hot outside and you just need to feel chilled and refreshed and cooled off? What is your go-to fragrance? Let us know in the comments so we can get our noses on them as well and try all of the fragrances, because we know we're always all looking for the next best thing. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a like, and I would love to have you as a subscriber on the channel. Thinking about running a giveaway once we hit 1,000 subscribers, perhaps a full bottle or two giveaway. So yeah, make sure you hit subscribe. And I've got some really cool videos coming up for you. I'm going to try to get them filmed before I head off to Vegas. And yeah, that way you guys won't have to wait another like 3 weeks in between videos. I'll try to get one out every single week for y'all. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.